Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a very special YouTube hop today. I am just thrilled and honored to be participating in this hop, which is a party to celebrate my dear friend Sarah from SARA SCRAPS, her 5-year YouTube anniversary. And that is just awesome. Sarah, I love her channel, of course. I have been following Sarah since the very beginning, and we have become friends. In addition to scrappy friends, we have become friends. We enjoy a lot of the same reading, a lot of the same TV or movies. We both have been primary and are primary caregivers, so we have a lot in common over and above our scrappy friendships, and it just makes me so happy to be playing along with so many of our friends and some of the lovely scrappy celebrities out there. So I am just chuffed, thrilled, and honored to be here. And true to Sarah's style, who is she's a great supporter of everybody else and all the other channels and scrappers, so she didn't want to give us any rules. It was just, please, let's just have a party, create, and have fun. So I created and had fun. So one of the things that Sarah does so beautifully, and many of the classes that I take from her over on the YouTube membership group, she does gorgeous backgrounds, and she makes gorgeous backgrounds, as do many others that are playing along today as well. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do. And one of the things in particular with her backgrounds is how she builds lovely layers on the background. So if you want to stick around, at the end of this layout, I'll actually show you a little bit of how I constructed this background in these gorgeous colors, because I used some packaging. I used some of this opalite paint that on one of my Fun Friday finds that I showed you about, I should say. I used a lovely stencil from Paige Evans. I used some of my mists and texture paste, and just had a lot of fun building this fun background, mounting it, framing it on a piece of teal cardstock, which just makes it come out even more. I had inked the edges of my white cardstock as well. The ink and this cardstock, they're both from Stampin' Up, and they're called Lost Lagoon. And the inking of the white edges just wasn't quite enough for me to make that whole background pop. So I then also framed it on the piece of paper, and I was so much happier that way. This is a photo, and as you can see here, this is a photo. My mom spent a good part, well, not a good part, she spent the entire holiday period in the hospital. Nothing COVID related. But the protocols and everything surrounding that makes any kind of hospital stay here much longer, because there are a series of tests. And anyway, so she was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and the lovely residents that she lives in, when they get out of the hospital, regardless of all of the negative COVID tests that they might have had, my mom had 5, they require a 2-week quarantine period. Which is fine. I'm not going to argue with them, because throughout this entire pandemic, that resident's never had not one case. Now, I, as primary caregiver, could still go, but this was the getup I had to wear. So I'm going to do a companion page, just a 6x12 to this, which will have the journaling. My original title was I'm Going In, but it really didn't fit. I'm so happy that I sort of made this page, though, artistic and fun, because I do like these, these bright colors. So I went in and I got my 6x8 from Paige Evans, the Scenic Route, and the lovely enamel shapes that go along with it. So the first thing that I did after I had my background dry, of course, is just layer. I took you know, all sorts of papers from the scenic route, and did some of my layering a little bit askew, some of them a little bit straight, and then popped my photo up on foam and put the entire photo just a little bit askew. And that's something that I do quite frequently when I do a nice background that I want to show and showcase. Then I tend to put my photo pretty much in the center and not do too much embellishing around it. So I just went in and got a few of the Nicole Jones 911 printables, which is something else, a love of which both SARA and I share. She got me hooked on the journaling ones. Oh, they're amazing. Anyway, so I just tucked in a little tab here and one of the little viewfinders here, which left a tiny little area here to just put, you know, everyday journey, because every time I went to see my mom during that 2-week period, I had to get this entire get up, and they actually had a little table set for me in the hallway outside of her apartment, because I couldn't even go in until I was all dressed up, and then I had to change back again in the hallway with all sorts of disinfecting in between each step. Take the gloves off, disinfect, take the gown off, disinfect, etc., etc. So that left me a lovely little area here that I put some of these lovely enamel shapes. They're glittery with everyday journey, because it's sort of like a journey with a few more of the, so a fairly serious subject, but made a little bit more lighthearted and just made beautiful. And I'll do the journaling on that companion page, and then just did my little corners here to finish it off and give a little bit of a diagonal feel to the embellishing. Another label which is a little bit how I love to do it, a bit askew here with the tab, small viewfinder, and enamel shape. Just one of the journaling labels, a larger viewfinder, and one of the sketchy cameras that I mounted up on foam. And right in the lens here, I put another one of those lovely little enamel shapes, a little floral one. So there you go. Now, there are so many people playing along today. Please make sure you pop on down below, you follow everything, settle back, get yourself a glass of wine, some chocolate, some coffee, whatever is your thing, because you are in for a treat of inspiration, of party, and of gorgeous, gorgeous projects. There are some giveaways over on SARA's channel. There might be on other ones. So all sorts of lovely, lovely stuff. Now, I have finished my part of the share here. If you want to stick around, if you want to see a little bit how I did this background, just stick around. I'm going to move right over to that right now. And again, thank you, my dear, dear friend SARA, for thinking of me, for asking me to be a part of this lovely, lovely celebration. And may we celebrate in 5-year increments many, many, many more times together. Love you, my friend. So let's see. So I've done this. I've done a few sort of bits here so that this wouldn't take too long, and I don't have time to let everything dry. So the first thing that I did is simply take Heidi Swap in teal and my colorings in Oh Say Can You See, and I just did the packaging technique, putting the teal first and the Oh Can You See on top of it, because the teal pops through the sort of minty color a little bit better than the other way around. So that is the first step. And then, as I mentioned in one of my Fun Friday founds, I found these Opalite paints that I had in my stash from forever, from Chukineko, and I just love the effect they give. So then I just go in and I add a little bit of the green in a couple of spots, and the blue in a couple of spots. Let's do it up here. And then SARA, as you know, if you follow her, which I'm sure you do, of course, she loves those lovely paint streaks. So that is simply what I did here. is do some of these little paint streaks. Now let's go the other way, and you can already start seeing the sheen a little bit. I have to admit to liking the green and the effect that the green does a little bit more than the blue. So I just put a little of that there, and there you go. To sort of let that dry and then give, now you can't see it as much here for sure because we just applied it and it's not dry yet, but then if you come over to this one there, I think you can see, hopefully I'm doing that right, you can see here the sort of lovely little paint strokes and a little bit of the sheen of it. It still gives a little bit of the green sheen, but it's almost just a sort of natural, a little opaque color. So there you go. So I got that, and you can definitely see in real life probably better than you can see on the camera. The sheen, the paint strokes, the brush strokes, I should say. Then the next step that I like doing, of course, is then putting a little bit of texture paste through, oh, and I forgot my little palette knife. There we go. Is then get a little bit of the texture paste, and I put it in different little areas, not to cover up the entire, and I'm using the Golden Light molding paste. I like the texture of it. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit the texture of whipped cream or some very light frosting. So let's just put that here, here, down here. So I put some of it also on the white areas that didn't have any paint or any of the mist, and then leave some of the paint and the mist as is, and then add some over to the white so that I also have some texture in certain areas as well. So there we go. And that's sort of like a third little bit of a layer. And all of this in real life really adds some fun texture. So this side was dry. And then I just come in, and if you can see on the layout, I was doing some splattering, but also a little bit of dripping using both of these. So let's just do, to begin with, a little bit of splattering, and then I just take some here and dab quite a bit more, and then let it run. A little bit the other way and let it run. Now you could add water if you wanted that to run a little bit more, but I didn't. I just sort of played around a little bit, and let's do a little bit of splattering in the, oh say, can you see? And then let's just keep adding here some extra bits, and then we will let this one there you go. So there you go. So that is how I got this layout. So there you go. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for joining us all. And yet again, please, please, please make sure you follow everyone along. Go on over, of course, and see what all the awesome giveaways. SARA has quite a few, actually, giveaways on our channel. So make sure you pop on over there and see all the incredible, incredible talent. And I will see you back here very, very soon. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.